Clinical research may help shape the future, but what is it and who can be involved?
We're going to learn all about that right now because joining us with what role more clinical research plays in the clinical trial process is Michael Bland, Director of Clinical Trials for More. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
And you know, a lot of people, Michael, we hear about clinical trials on television all the time. We read about them, we see them online. A lot of people just don't know what they are and are kind of wary of them. So set the record straight for us.
Yeah, so the goal is to kind of kill some of that skepticism today. So a lot of people think clinical trials involve us hooking you up to a weird machine or you're gonna grow a third eye from applying this medication. So our goal here is to talk about what clinical trials are and how they benefit the community in the sense of access to possible medications that aren't necessarily available out on the market yet. So
okay, and at what stage does the more clinical research come into all of this?
So we are a dedicated research site, been operating in Tampa for 13 years now this month. Our role is basically to have patients come to our site, they test out the products for the sponsor, who's the pharmaceutical company running the trial, and they get paid for their participation in the research.
Nice, okay.
So there is pay here, and I think maybe some people don't understand that, so that's good. It could be good for your pocketbook, couldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people, they don't realize that when they do a research study with us being a dedicated research site, there's no insurance involved with that. We're not charging people to be involved with the research study. We're paying them to do the research study. If they need help with transportation getting to our sites, we've offered bus passes before, and we've even called them an Uber. So it just depends on what whatever it takes to get the patient to our clinic, we're willing to do it.
They just have to have whatever ailment it is that you happen to be looking for at the time. So you just can't call up and say, I volunteer, I'm coming in for anything.
No, yeah.
Now, you work with a lot of brand names versus generics, right? How does that work?
So basically what that means is the sponsor is looking to find a generic alternative. Obviously for the end user, for the consumer, that's a cheaper version, a cheaper alternative. They're looking to compare their generic to a known brand. So if a company, for instance, was looking to compare acetaminophen for Tylenol, they're looking to see if that product works just as good or better than Tylenol. And there's obviously some placebo factors that are incorporated with that, what we call bioequivalent studies, and meaning that the generic version is the same as far as compound and components go with the name brand. I'm
thinking some studies take longer than others, or is there usually a set amount of time on average for a study?
So they range. Typical studies for us are 12 weeks, so 3-month involvement. Some studies are 6 months. We've done trials that are a year long. The nice thing is some studies have a short-term and what we call a long-term portion. So they're involved on the study for a short period of time, usually anywhere from 3 months to 6 months. But then they're also able to join a long-term portion of that study, which is what we call an open-label portion, which means they're getting medication guaranteed at that point.
So what do you have going right now if somebody's watching and says, hey, I'd like to take part in one of these clinical trials?
Yeah, well, we have a large acne study coming up, getting ready to start this month. It's going to be 320 patients, so we need a lot of acne participants for this. And
ages?
Age range is 12 to 40 inclusive. So we also have some eczema studies and a psoriasis study going on currently right now.
It must be really rewarding when you see something that's really working well for your subjects that are coming in.
It was crazy. We had a study on psoriasis. The compound that was involved, the psoriasis patients were clearing up pretty quickly. So you see some interesting stuff, and it is very rewarding.
That is fantastic.
Excellent.
All right.
Fantastic.
Well, if you are interested in participating in a clinical trial or you want to learn more, call 813-948-7550 or visit morecr.com.
Interesting stuff. Thanks so much, Michael Bland.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Daytime will be right back after these messages.